There's a new PlayStation VR unit coming, and let's take a look at the first year of PSVR games and also what is coming in this episode of the Everything PlayStation podcast. Hey Zach.
Hey, how's it going? Let's hop into virtual reality, shall we?
Yes, let's do it. And of course we're also going to touch on the rapid news, of course, the news that happened last week. We're going to give our reaction to it and the drops, the games that are coming out this week. But let's jump into virtual reality right now. Over on the PlayStation blog, Sony updated the FAQ for the PlayStation VR, saying that there is a new design coming with that enables the stereo headphones cables to be integrated with the VR headset, and also a slimmer, streamlined connection cable. And a lot of people had issues with this when wanting to play HDR games. If you had like the processing unit in between your PS4 and your TV, you could not like have HDR compatible games on your TV screen when not using the PSVR. Now you can with this new VR unit. Some small interesting things. It's the same price, so it will just be an updated version of the VR that is here. It will have a slightly different look, so that you know that you're buying the new version. So that's an interesting thing. Any reaction on that, Zach?
I mean, it's good that they're updating and improving on things, but I feel like this stuff should have already been in there to begin with, because you look at the history of like the Oculus and the HTC Vive, and over the years of their development kits, you could see the evolution of changing out different cables to make it a more streamlined experience. So basically, when I got an Oculus that I tried out for a bit, basically all I had to do is plug in the HDMI to USBs, and that was pretty much it, and set up the cameras, of course, and that was pretty much it. Where it seems like this is a little bit more cumbersome, but at the same time, I guess a little bit more simplistic too, because you don't need multiple cameras, which is a downfall of the headset itself, but also could be an upside for people who just want a more simplistic experience. But the fact that they're making this more streamlined is good. That means that people are going to see it as a more premium product. But at the same time, I just feel like they could have just ironed out a lot of this stuff before they released PSVR, and then improved upon what really matters, which is like the processor unit, and maybe get higher resolution output to the displays, or have higher resolution displays to begin with.
Yeah, like a PSVR Unit Pro, something like that.
Exactly,
that it still runs the same games, but it just looks better, because that's still an issue kind of with the PSVR compared to the other VR headsets, of course, is that, if you look like really closely, you do see like a lot of pixels and stuff like that. It's not really that sharp in that sense. The PSVR Pro, if you got that does really help a little bit, but not that you're like, oh wow, now it's like what you want, what you expect. On the other hand, it's still like running on a really old piece of hardware, the PS4, and the headset is $400. So I don't know what I think for the price you pay, the stuff you get there is pretty good, and that they now upgraded it's really nice, of course, before the holiday season. So I think they will probably sell the boxes they have right now, and then you will see the new one coming in slowly, and then around like Black Friday there are only new ones. I think that's what's there.
I think one thing that's worrying for VR, just if we look out in the beyond, is people like Intel, for instance, have canceled their headset design, which was Project Aloy. They canceled it essentially, from what I read.
Aloy?
Aloy, or Alloy, or how you want it. It's ALLOY. But they canceled it. From what I got, the gist of it is basically they don't think VR as a market is growing, and they don't think it's really going to become anything major. So they feel like they should shift their focus elsewhere. At the same time, though, since it's Intel, their main thing is CPUs, and so with AMD right now, AMD is kind of challenging them in that department. So it could just be that they wanted to shift focus away from their VR portion, because they see that there's more competition growing among AMD, and they just wanted to sort of get rid of AMD from the picture again, and then maybe go back to it. So I don't know, that worries me though, because also just from in the future looking outward, I don't see anything super major. I see a lot of games that, for instance, Skyrim, Fallout 4, Doom, like stuff that we've already played that's being sort of converted to VR.
Fallout is not on PSVR. That's only going to be
I'm
HD,
talking VR just in general. Yeah. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, that's good that you pointed that out because some people may just think that we're talking about PSVR here. But
what is Fallout coming?
Yeah, it might in the future, maybe. Who knows? I mean, Skyrim's coming, so why wouldn't?
Yeah, but it's an older game. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
Fallout 4 already ran like shit on the.
Yeah, it did. So, but yeah, regardless, like there's some bigger titles, is what I'm trying to say, but they're all stuff we've already played, and the ones that aren't, they're not really big experiences like we come to expect from a standard title. So it is worrying in that sense, but at the same time, I think everyone knew that VR would be a slow burn, and that's why I said in like 5 years, maybe it will blow up, but that will be the true test, is in 5 years when maybe the battery packs are integrated. There's no, like hardly any wires whatsoever. Maybe it's a wireless experience because wireless capabilities are so good that that's possible with hardly any latency.
What HTC is doing like next year, that is rumored, I think. I don't know if it's already confirmed, that they will like put all the things you need in the HTC, in the headset itself. So
that's
you don't
the
need
Oculus, I think. Or HTC
is that
said
Oculus?
It too. Yeah, Oculus said that it's going to be like a reduced price one, or I think around $200-$300 that would have that capability.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, then I'm mistaken, I think. But it should be like in between the quality of the Oculus that we know now, that you need like a PC with, and the PSVR. So still pretty sweet deal. So that's like interesting, because then you don't need all the wires. I think the thing on your head will be pretty heavy, but still, that's an interesting thing. Right now with the PSVR, the state is still, man, I gotta plug in all that crap in my PS4. Oh my god, look out for the wires. It's like a whole undertaking before you finally play some games. And if you only got like 30 minutes to play something, you already spent 10 minutes setting it up. Oh no, the angle's not good. Oh, I have to stand a little bit further away. It kind of sucks. I wanna look a little bit at, because I think that, of course, that's like PSVR right now. When buying the system, you kind of knew what you were getting into if you bought the VR headset. But I want to say, normally with these types of stuff, like as we look at the VIDA, the support for that system was pretty lackluster even in the first year. I think Sony did a pretty good job this year, and also kind of, I mean, I played Gran Turismo Sport VR at an event, and I was kind of blown away by how well it worked and how fun it was. So Gran Turismo is of course their big exclusive this holiday season, and to have VR support in that game is really awesome. Like, it's not like that the full game is playable in VR, but I think there's a good bit of stages and stuff like that you can play in VR, and that really gives another experience. Like, there are still things that we also saw Resident Evil 7 PSVR. I think it will be next year for the other platforms, because I think they had a 1-year exclusivity deal, just like we saw, for example, with Batman Arkham VR, that also came later to the PC platforms. But that also works really well, like first-person horror, of course. And we're gonna have The Impatient coming this year as well. There's like we saw Farpoint this year, like with that was also like, okay, you got this super expensive headset, you bought the Move controllers again, stuff like that, and then they brought Farpoint, where you had some sort of like aim controller as well. Like, buying Farpoint with that aim controller was like $100. It was super expensive. So it's still an expensive piece of hardware to own. But you will be able to use that for Bravo Team as well, another game coming out. You already mentioned Skyrim. There's a Final Fantasy kind of fishing game coming out. So it's still not like the full-fledged things. Skyrim is, though. Although we have to say that you don't like move like you're used to. You teleport in the world. So I'm curious to see how that will work, because that doesn't sound like fun to me. But yeah, I still think that Sony, it's not like with their previous like accessories with the Move before, for example, as well, that they released 2 games and then they're like, okay, nobody's supporting us on the third party front, why bother, let's just drop it. They're still like pushing it a little bit. We saw that E3, they had their own section there. Tokyo Game Show had some things going on there as well. Paris Games Week, I'm sure we will see some PlayStation VR titles there, and PlayStation Experience later this year as well. So they're still pushing it. It's interesting that, okay, Gran Turismo is coming there. It makes sense. It's not like that Naughty Dog is now making a PSVR game, or Guerrilla Games is suddenly kind of
and that's where I'm gonna take more of a negative route on this, because I like I said before, I had an Oculus, so I have that experience under my belt, which allowed me to also play with the Vive games too, because they work together, and so I was able to test out, the two other companies that this is rivaling, and I was able to also look at the PSVR and what was releasing there. And as I mentioned before, a lot of stuff that they're releasing doesn't seem to be like big games like that we haven't seen before. It's either, like I said, Skyrim VR or Gran Turismo. I mean, it's all right, but every stage should be in VR. That's kind of shocking it's not, considering there's a game called Dirt Rally where you could play the whole game in VR, and it looks absolutely stunning, works really well. You have games like Elite Dangerous, who implemented a VR option as well. That works really, really well. And then for Oculus, you have games like Lone Echo. That is from what I saw, I only played the free-to-play Lone Echo Arena, which is basically like if you've ever watched Ender's Game, that particular game in VR. It's absolutely breathtaking and awesome to play. And so I was able to imagine myself playing through a campaign like that. And so that fascinates me with Lone Echo, but it's $40, and I think it's like a 6-hour campaign or whatever. It's a pretty short campaign. Yeah, and I just didn't really feel like spending the money at the time. But I was
from Ready at Dawn, by the way.
Exactly.
From the creators of The Order 1886, and a fun thing for PlayStation listeners, of course.
So it's AAA, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's important. And also with The Mage's Tale, it's another game that is sort of like a dungeon crawler-y type story-based experience as well. And there's also a lot of other experiences too on Oculus, and HTC Vive has some too. For example, Vanishing Realms is a very popular VR game. It's like a dungeon crawler RPG with really awesome hit detection and whatnot. There's another game that sort of mimicked it that people are liking. It's in early access. I didn't try that though. I did try Vanishing Realms, and it was awesome. It was a really good experience. But what I'm trying to say here is that sure, there is support there for PSVR, and I am, it's definitely better than like the Vita, for instance, and it's definitely better than what I guess expected from Sony with this type of thing, if it didn't perform as well as they thought it would. But it's not as good as their competitors, and that's what worries me, because as much as you can say, okay, to buy a PlayStation 4 and a PSVR, it's cheaper than buying like a PC and an Oculus right now. That's true, but if it was me, I would pay a little extra to get more original experiences that are AAA quality than getting a bunch of reskin games that I already played 3 to 4 years ago that just now have a VR option. So that's where I look at it. I'm like, did they really do a great job? But I guess quantity-wise, sure. Quality-wise, it's debatable.
Good points. Yeah, good point. It will be interesting to see moving forward. I think for the first year of a completely new platform that probably has 1-2 million install base, I think they did pretty well. Also with the launch lineup was pretty insane. They also now give away, so if you buy the PlayStation VR, you get and have PlayStation Plus, you get a rigs from Guerrilla Cambridge, the sort of sister studio from Guerrilla that is sadly no more, but they made this awesome sort of arena based shooter where you are in a mech. So again, it works because you don't move physically, you sit in a mech, so it makes sense for VR. You look around, shoot people, get points, have to jump through a hoop in the middle of the map. And that was really one of my favorite PSVR games, also because you play with the controller and it feels natural, while a lot of PSVR games with the move, it's kind of weird sometimes. So I really like that, and you get it now for free. So it was a $60 game last year. It probably dropped in price, but to get it now for free, it's also a nice way to know, okay, when I get the PSVR, I already have a game to play. So
yeah, definitely.
With the updated unit, of course, they're still not there. It's not like we get like an Uncharted exclusively for that system, or an Uncharted experience. Something like that would already be cool. You still see Sony holding back on their big first-party games. They are going to focus on PS4 games, but where they can, they implement some VR stuff, like with Gran Turismo. It just simply makes a lot of sense. And they just ask studios that made Until Dawn, for example, to make The Impatient, to make Bravo Team, to make all those games work, and have some smaller experiences. Because VR, while Skyrim is of course totally the opposite, you can play that for hundreds of hours, normally you only play VR for like an hour and then you kind of move on. So to have these smaller experiences makes sense. It will be interesting to see, of course, like I mentioned with Paris Games Week and the PlayStation experience, if they're going to focus a lot on VR as well, and what 2018 will look like. But I think 2017, 6.5, something like that. They did a good job. Not great, like with the points you mentioned. Like, it's still not that they're going really all in. But for the install base that is there, they have to be realistic. Of course, they can't pour a lot of money into it. I think they did pretty fine.
Yeah,
So,
it's just, for me, it's disappointing to see primarily gaming company like Sony lose, even if it's not a whole lot, to a Facebook, you know, a social media.
Way more money though.
That's true. I mean, they pumped a lot of money into Oculus, and you know, they definitely bought them for a hefty sum of money. So they wanted to, you know, put that investment in place and make sure it works well. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's nothing on PSVR that just looks like, oh, that's gonna blow me away for multiple hours. There's experiences that like, wow, that's awesome for maybe 30
Resident
minutes
Evil
to an hour.
Is that, but if you don't like horror games.
I mean, that's already been modded to work in some cases on the other headsets. But yeah, I don't know. I would give them probably about, I think 6.5 is, you know, out of 10 is, you know, definitely reasonable in that case. Yeah. I just think they could have done better, and hopefully, you know, with the later this year as more announcements come out, hopefully there's more like sort of bombshells that would try to push this forward. Yeah. Because I would really hate for all these people who own PSVR headsets for, you know, 2018 to be empty or not really a lot of stuff there, and then that would basically spell out disaster for 2019 and then 2020 and so on and so forth. So yeah, I 6.5 sounds right.
Yeah, we will be following, of course, the PSVR as we move into 2018 and the holiday of 2017. So, yeah, keep it locked here to the podcast, the Everything PlayStation podcast. Right now, let's move in to the rapid news. You want to do the first story, or should I do it?
I think you should, because I didn't play Red Dead 1, so...
Yeah, because it's about Red Dead Redemption 2. Of course, the trailer dropped last week. We talked about the fact that Rockstar was teasing the fact that they were going to drop a trailer, and I saw like websites do like in the Netherlands, there was one website that did like an hour before the trailer, like kind of discussing what they wanted, and then an hour after the trailer, and then the trailer dropped and it's like a 1 minute 30. So
yeah,
good job with that. So we're playing Arthur Morgan. It's it's a prequel over the first game. The story of outlaw Arthur Morgan and the Van der Linden gang as they rob, fight, and steal their way across the vast and rugged heart of America in order to survive. So, in the trailer you saw a lot of action. The guy is really an American guy, the Arthur guy. He's super brutal. Look, it just looked really, it looks pretty cool. Like, at first when the trailer started, I was like, ooh. But then when it kind of moved on, it's okay, wow, this looks pretty cool. Of course, it's a huge open world. And yeah, they already like pieced, a lot of people over on Reddit pieced stuff together. And they saw that the map that was leaked last year looks to be legit. Like they kind of combined it here and there. So it's gonna be a big game. Of course, spring 2018 still. So we don't know what the release date is. Are they going to hit it? I think at this point they're probably going to do it, but it's still Rockstar, so we don't really know. Yeah, it can really go both ways. Still only PS4, Xbox One. No word on PC yet. I think they're going to ride that train, and then maybe later we hear about a new version. So, did you see the trailer, Zach?
Yeah, I did, and I was, you know, surprised that it was as slim as it was, but at the same time, it seemed to be, I'm not sure if they confirmed this or not, but in-game footage, it seemed like it wasn't like a cinematic trailer, for instance, like over-the-top graphics or anything like that. But yeah, it looked good. It looked interesting, and I would definitely pick it up. Maybe, depending on what's going on at that time, because I feel like they're going to release a PC version. I'd rather just play it there. But if it doesn't, you know, have any announcement whatsoever, you know, months after its release, I'll definitely pick it up and play it on PS4. Because they'll probably have HD support and look really beautiful regardless. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. This was captured on a normal PS4 device, by the way, the footage that you saw in the trailer.
Interesting.
yeah, so that looked already like pretty cool. Did you see the like GIF that went around with the horse and his balls were like swinging?
No, I didn't see that.
So like, yeah, they put like physics in every part of the horse. That's basically what people were finding out. It's pretty insane. Of course, the detail in these Rockstar games. I mean, they've been working on this game for like 5 years probably now at this point, or maybe even more. So
yeah.
Personally, I think, of course, this looks really awesome, the single player, but I'm more looking forward to the multiplayer myself because I really know that I will love it. I really like the Red Dead Redemption like first multiplayer, and that was pre GTA Online. So I can only imagine how big this multiplayer will be with all the experience they now got from GTA Online. So I really expect a lot of awesome things in that world, and that you can make your own gang and go to a village, rob everything and stuff like that. That sounds like fun to me, because yeah, that's more what I'm looking forward to.
This just in, Jordan likes robbing things from people and
Yeah.
villages.
With a cowboy hat, and I'm all done.
But speaking of games that we probably won't see for a very long time, the Elder Scrolls 6, Bethesda's Pete Hines had an interview with Games Radar, and he was mentioned, of course, about Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, everyone's going to mention and ask them that. But what he basically turned around and said is, just to TLDR it, if they wanted to try new things, and that if developers weren't allowed to break from the usual and try new things, we want to have games like Horizon Zero Dawn. And he mentions that if Guerrilla would have kept on the same path that they were on, you know, creating Killzone games, we wouldn't have gotten Horizon and the very, you know, great quality that game, you know, was, how polished it was, how captivating it was, how fun it was to play, and also how unique it was in the sense of like its, you know, setting and whatnot. That was really just awesome. So yeah, Pete Hines seems to be very glowing about the game, loves it a lot. He said that it's probably his, you know, favorite game of the year, and he also mentions with Naughty Dog, you know, if they would have kept churning out Uncharted games, maybe we wouldn't have got The Last of Us. So I think it's a fair point, and I think it's a good point by him. And I mean, that just really gives us a sort of a glimpse into the mentality of Bethesda right now. They do want to try different things. They don't want to just churn out Fallout games and Elder Scrolls games. And we still have an announcement, you know, sometime this year of a new game. I mean, is that going to be like a mobile game? Is it like something they're working on and been working on for a while that's brand new, maybe? Who knows?
I don't think it's going to be a big game, because why not show it at E3 then?
Because they're Bethesda and they don't need to.
They do need to, though, because their games have not been selling well like recently.
But those
Prey did not set the world on fire. Only Fallout 4 sold extremely well.
But who was Fallout 4 by? Bethesda. It wasn't a sub company. And I think that's really what sells these games from Bethesda is people, they look at, oh, if they're publishing a game, maybe I don't really care. But if they're developing a game,
you mean Bethesda Game Studios?
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what I'm basically saying. Like maybe, but I still kind of agree with you. That's probably something small. But we definitely should expect something new from them that's different sometime soon, because it doesn't seem like they care about Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they care about Elder Scrolls 6 right now, and I understand that. You know, it took them a while to make another Fallout game, and I can imagine it's going to take them a while to make an Elder Scrolls game because they just want to focus on new things.
Yeah, and I think they kind of want to try new things, and do that in an Elder Scrolls franchise might piss off fans, like if they kind of do completely different stuff. So they're going to try it first, maybe in another thing, and then bring it over, something like that. Could work out. I think that's good from them. And they still have like that card laying around that if everything goes wrong, they still can play that Elder Scrolls 6 card, and then they will be fine. So whatever they do right now, I mean, they still have a lot of cash from Fallout. Like, that game sold so well. It's like really insane. Their best-selling game ever. That's what Pete Hines said, like exceeding Skyrim. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what the games they put out this year will sell. Wolfenstein on the same day as Assassin's Creed and Mario, and of course Mario's on a different platform, but still, you want to go up, with the mindshare of these games. And Ubisoft is really I think the marketing budget for Assassin's Creed will be way bigger than for Wolfenstein. So I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. Then you have like the week after that, you have Call of Duty already. So,
well, that and the week before that, you have South Park and Evil Within and Shadow of War, and also on the PC, Destiny 2 is gonna release. So there goes your PC market. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the first Wolfenstein did really well because it was like in May, and it was like one of the first. It was like 2014, I think, and that was like when everyone was like looking for games to play on their new hardware. So to put it out, that was like the mistake they made with Dishonored 2 as well.
And they're making it again.
Came out like early October, and everyone was like, whoa, this is really awesome. Then they put Dishonored 2 like in a freaking week after Call of Duty. Like, what are you doing? And Wolfenstein kind of seems to have the same fate. I think it will sell way more than Dishonored. It's of course a way bigger franchise, but if people see Assassin's Creed that has 100 hours of content and Wolfenstein that they finish in 7 hours and then kind of drop because it doesn't have a multiplayer, yeah, I don't know what you're going to pick, right? So it will be really interesting to see. I think next year they will come with a new IP from the Bethesda Game Studios because they've been working on multiple projects for very long. I think they will just do E3 announcement, looks really awesome, it's out in October, something like that. And that might work out for them in October. But Wolfenstein 2, I don't know, man. I don't know. Moving on. When will we see, like, talking about things that are anticipated, like the new games from Bethesda Game Studios. Diablo. Right now, Diablo 3 still chugging along. They, of course, released the super cheap class this year. The Necromancer, $15, I think it was. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is going on with that franchise? Of course, we kind of know that they're working on something new. I mean, Diablo 3, again, that's also like a game that sold extremely well. That's you would not think that it did, but it really set the world on fire when it launched. And, of course, the servers on fire as well. Anyway, no Diablo announcement at BlizzCon. And BlizzCon is, of course, early November. So, if you were holding on hope if we would get anything on the new Diablo game, don't be. We're probably going to see World of Warcraft expansion, new Overwatch map and hero. I really hope they do something more than just an Overwatch map and hero. I really feel they have to do something new to get the excitement by the sort of, people that bought it on console, like the sort of bro gamer guys that, they thought, oh, Overwatch cool, and they kind of moved on now. I think they have to get those people back if they want to have some more success there. So hopefully they announce something for that. Maybe a mobile game. They've been working on an MMO mobile game. They were hiring for that. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what they will do, but I don't expect a lot of new things. Last year was kind of lackluster as well.
Yeah, World of Warcraft's going to be this year. I mean, Legion's been out for a while now, so we're definitely going to... And there's also been
they released
as well for a new expansion, and that usually means that that's gonna happen. So we'll probably see that at BlizzCon, and then maybe the year after that, maybe Diablo, but probably not. And then the year after that, definitely. But it's I don't know. If you like World of Warcraft, BlizzCon's probably gonna be fun for you. If not, you're probably gonna get a lot of smaller things from other games like Hearthstone, maybe an expansion for Hearthstone, and then also maybe something somewhat decent for Overwatch, but nothing super big or anything like that. But for something that is really big, that a lot of you guys may be very interested in.
Those bridges we make, man.
Yeah, dude. The transitions today are just absolutely amazing. So, developer Bluehole, who made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, PUBG as some people call it, is going to be bringing it to PlayStation 4 sometime after the Xbox release. And that was said in an interview. It wasn't really much else other than that, because I think they have some sort of agreement with Microsoft to not really talk too much about it. It's sort of a timed exclusive thing, but they can't help themselves. I mean, they know their game is gangbusters, and they know that Microsoft can't do anything to them because they can just be like, well, we just won't sell it, and we'll sell it on Sony's console, and you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're going to. It's not like Microsoft is going to say, "Oh, you could not talk about PS4. We're not going to bring the game to Xbox anymore." They're not going to do that.
Yeah, especially with right now at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is when we're recording this. There's 1.4 million people playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on PC, and its 24-hour peak was consistently over the all-time peak for Dota 2. 1.6 million, and it keeps growing. I keep looking at it. It just keeps growing. I don't understand. So yeah, they have all the power in the world. You guys are going to be getting out on PS4 soon. It was going to be after, of course, Xbox, and of course, Xbox going to get soon as well. So there's going to be making a ton of money, and they're going to have to probably buy armored trucks because that's probably how much money they're going to be making, and they have to somehow transfer it between their bank and everything. Of course, it's all digital now. I'm joking, but yeah, it's insane.
I want to see that though. like for
GTA
one day,
IRL.
Yeah. I mean, the exclusivity deal with Microsoft is till the end of the year, and they're still trying. They're still trying to get it on Xbox as soon as possible. Like Microsoft is even publishing the game. They're really putting a lot of resources behind it. It's their biggest exclusive at the end of this year for Microsoft. So console exclusive, of course, that is. So they want to, I mean, if it launches alongside the Xbox One X, that would be a pretty huge deal, of course.
Yeah.
So they want to get that out there. I mean, it would be a shame if it was after Black Friday that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds released. But I don't know. It will be funny if, and on January 1st, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds released on PS4. I think it will be a little later than that, but I would not be surprised if it was January. I mean, yeah.
I wouldn't either. Like I mentioned, they have all the power in the world right now. I mean, they can't.
Oh, yeah.
It's Sony and Microsoft. They're not going to mess with them because it's such a huge fan base, so much money that either console would lose out on if they don't, let them just talk freely. So
yeah, we already saw that with of course, with the Battle Royale mode for Fortnite that had 1 million players on day one. Of course, on PS4, like the first Battle Royale type of game. So you have to be fast as well, because Ubisoft is probably already internally, making sure that Ghost Recon has a mode like that. So you wanna be fast. What we can play though next week, and that's free if you own PlayStation Plus, is Metal Gear Solid 5. It's the PlayStation Plus lineup. And that's a pretty huge title. I think that's the biggest title that we get for free since the launch of PS4 for the PS4 PlayStation Plus lineup. Then, Scary October, of course Halloween, Amnesia collection, like a collection with classics. Did you play the Amnesia games or?
A little bit. I found it kind of cheesy. Like once I saw the thing that chases you and sort of seeing what they did, it just was like, eh. I'm really terrible for horror games because I immediately see it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like it made me frighten me once, and then it just doesn't do it again. So
it's like with horror movies that have like a story, and then it's like scary until the story gets explained.
I just more like the theme of horror more than I like being scared. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Then we have on PS3 Monster Jam Battlegrounds Hustle Kings, and PS is on PS Vita with crossplay PS4. And a Skyforce Anniversary PS Vita, but also cross-buy with PS4 and PS3. So you can buy or you can play and Skyforce. I always say Skyforge, but it's Skyforce on PS Vita or PS4 and PS3 as well. So pretty good lineup, especially Metal Gear if you haven't played it yet.
We all know the best game in there is on the PS3, Monster Jam Battlegrounds, duh.
Yeah. So for the video I made, of course, that's up on the channel where I like show you all the games. I looked up the Metacritic for Monster Jam Battlegrounds. It's like 20.
Yeah.
So
sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. So let's move on to the drop. Let's drop it, Zach.
The drop. All right. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's somewhat of a slow week. I mean, you see Batman The Enemy Within, the retail version of that, which is, big series. I actually enjoyed the first Batman Telltale series, and I assume I'll enjoy the second season as well. But I usually buy them at the end because I hate having to wait between episodes. It just annoys the hell out of me. But for those of you who want to hop right in right now and check it out, you can. And also another thing is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, and that's a quality game. I tried it a little bit, not really my cup of tea, but I think if you like Monster Hunter, you like Horizon, you might dig this game because it kind of has that same kind of RPG element where you hunt big beasts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they're very destructible. You can climb on them and stuff like that. So it's a very in-depth game, but it also is In my opinion, story-wise, not really all that there, but maybe some people would argue with me. But yeah.
It feels like pretty old already, I think.
Yeah,
when
that's
I played
another
it,
thing.
Yeah, when I played it on PS3, like the Dark Arisen game, it was like PlayStation Plus, I think, once. It kind of feels like, this is a Japanese game that they already kind of tend to feel a little older than a Western type of games. Look, for example, at Neo. I think that game also like did not really look that good if you compare it to, for example, other titles that came out this year. So it has that because it's an old game, and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it feels a little bit clunky, but I think you will still appreciate it, and it's only $25. So that's a pretty sweet deal if you are interested in that. So then that is, I think, it, right? Whoa.
Yeah, I think that's it. I guess there's one thing in our notes. Episode 2 of Batman Enemy Within launches this week, so that would be nice if you pick up the retail.
Yeah, but I think that if you are invested in that series, you probably know it. You probably know what's up.
That's true.
And then next week, Shadow of Microtransactions. Finally here.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
You know, it's funny. I saw an ad for a mobile version of Shadow of War, and
I'm playing that mobile version, by the way.
Yeah, I looked it up, and immediately I see people are like, "Oh, you run into microtransactions the first 30 minutes. It's awful." But it looks pretty quality, except for the fact there's probably so much paywalls.
No, I've played it now for 3 hours, maybe something like that.
Interesting.
Pretty extension. So it's not that bad. Like, of course, there are I mean, in this game, it's a free-to-play game. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as with Shadow of War, where, of course,
you pay $60 and
there's no reason for them, to be there. But there is an energy system, but like early on, you don't really run out of that. Only if you like really, spend a lot of time playing the game in one sitting. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it because it has this short burst gameplay. Like you can play like a sort of dungeon or whatever it is, a level for 2 minutes, and then it's done, and still really have to kind of think strategically about how to put your how to put your allies. I think it's really cool, and you can like unlock other characters. But if you really want to like unlock the Legolas and stuff like the guys that are like really famous, then you're gonna have to grab your wallet. But there are also other characters that are not that familiar that you can get for free. So I don't know. I'm enjoying myself.
I downloaded Titanfall Assault recently, which is mobile as well, because Total Biscuit, aka John Bain, who is very popular on YouTube, was mentioning it on Twitter, and I was like, I wonder what that is, because I was playing Titanfall 2, and I was like, maybe I might want to play that, if I'm, in transit or whatever at some point. And so I downloaded it. Haven't really tried it yet, but it seemed interesting. But it's pretty neat that there's a lot more high quality mobile games coming out there for small bursts of entertainment. But it just seems like every time I try one, I run into a lot of microtransactions, and it just bugs the hell out of me. But I don't know. Maybe Titanfall will be better. Shadow War might be a little bit better as well. Who knows? But yeah.
I'm enjoying myself. Of course, I do keep in mind, like, for example, one stupid thing they added that they kind of went a little bit too far on is that if you want to upgrade your characters, like put ability points, like upgrade them, then you can only have 10 ability points, and after that you have to wait 5 minutes for a new one. Like, let me freaking upgrade my characters. Stuff like that doesn't make sense. But yeah,
it's a free game though, so I can't really hate them that much for it.
Oh,
even though I don't like mobile games because they do over monetize a lot of the times, but it's less criminal to me than putting in a $60 game like they did with Shadow War. So
yeah, totally, I totally agree. Okay, but enough mobile game talk. Let's end this show.
Everything mobile game podcast.
Next week we will be back discussing Call of Duty World War II's mobile companion app.
Yeah.
Of course, next week there will be a lot of awesome stuff to talk about, I'm sure, because it's October. Now it's really going to happen. Like, it's going to be insane. I also want to do a predictions for the PlayStation experience that is coming up on October 30th, Zach. So we want to... You want to prepare those. I don't know when, maybe not next week, maybe the week after that, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty with that as well. So of course, yeah, keep subscribed to the channel to be up to date on that. Like this video to support the podcast. Of course, thanks as always to for you to discuss the gaming news with me.
Damn
and then we will
straight.
speak to you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.